Oh, you identify you identify as a llama? Okay. Um, hmm, yeah. Right, right. So, do you want representation in the parliament?
Excuse me?
Do you want representation in the parliament next?
Yes, please. You have a connection to Modi, right?
Oh yeah, Indian journalists think I have connect.
Oh
Oh
my!
my
Hold on, another
God.
mascot. Who would have?
Uh, yeah. Wow, you're behaving like my ex.
Are you
This
recording this right now?
I'll cut this. This should not go online.
No, 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 no,
I
no, no, no. It should. It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah, right. I have
Were you
this.
recording
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It was being. Yeah, I was recording it.
Yes, please keep it in there because I love it. So, you know, I think we're long distance sort of friends, and I just wanted
Yeah,
you to know, as my Indian counterpart, just how awesome America is at everything, as you can see here.
yeah,
Um, just we're great. Just wanted you to know that because I think as Americans we have to constantly remind other people around the world of this fact. You know,
yeah. What are you going to tell me about a school shooting next?
listen, those are unfortunate, but they were just practicing their Second Amendment rights.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. I kind of forget. Tell me more about Second Amendment. Tell me more about New York because I don't think I hear about it enough.
All right, all right.
Hey,
How you been, man?
I think I am in my teenager phase now. From the last, I think 4 or 5 months. I have
Yeah,
never, yeah, I've never felt more like a teenager than I do now. I mean, it's constant mood swings. It's constantly up and down. I am on the edge. I get offended by things really quickly.
really.
It's just something. I think it's mostly because of the things happening in and around the university, and kind of this. I'm internally struggling with uh, empathizing with people. This is something that came naturally to me. I was always a firm believer of socialist practices and giving back and doing for others. Ever since I got my job and I had to work to make money, I'm shifting more and more towards capitalism. I'm losing that touch, and and something about the university. I was always told by my friends that, oh, you are a liberal. I was always told by my parents that, okay, you are a liberal. You are a liberal. You're progressive. Ever since I've come to this university, there are slight realizations and slight hints everywhere that I might not be a liberal, and it's confusing. Like I want to be associated with progressive. I don't want to be the grumpy old dude who's like, oh no, these people are doing this and it's bothering me and it's fabric of society and culture. No, but there is a part of me that feels uncomfortable with things happening around me in the university, and I don't feel comfortable enough putting my voice out there because I'm afraid I'll be labeled as a conservative or a boomer. Feel me?
Ooh, yeah. I that is something very similar is happening in America at the moment. It's I call it a reactionary wave to everything that's happened in the 2010s, leading all the way up through COVID with this whatever wokeness, whatever you want to define it as, right? Like it's I hate that word woke, but it's a generalizing term that does a bad job of encapsulating everything. But you know, I found myself in that same position. I'm from, an old school Democrat family. And my mom instilled in me like these hardcore values of helping people and trying to make the world a better place. And, you know, I'm starting to once you start working, it's almost like becoming an adult. You start realizing how the real world works, and how it would be nice if everyone could get everything for free, but that's just not how it works. The world's a brutal place, and you know, capitalism's a crappy system, but it's better than all the other ones. Type of mentality, and that's what I sort of ascribe to. I think America, in our situation, can make it a lot better, but I don't trust the people in charge, the Democrats, to do anything of value or note. They're all just either bought and paid for, or just useful idiots for other people to pass their like industrial agenda. While also doing very good PR of going climate change and blah blah blah. While at the same time they're like dumping oil onto penguins and shit. You know, um, so it can make you very cynical, but I have sort of gone through my own journey. Like these past 3 months have been very difficult for me too.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a worldwide thing since you mentioned it. That's been very interesting to me because you're halfway around the world, and like what you said, mine's less about politics and more just about life. Just being like
Yeah.
inflation's up, um, and people just everyone seems to be upset around like my work, and I could be moody according to my students. Um, it's a weird time. It's almost like if I believed in what is it, astrology, if I believed in that, I'd be like, all right, there's something going on with some planet alignment crap that's throwing off my this or that, because that's what it honest feels like. Like it's just but no one wants to hear, at least at my school, about pronouns. Some kids still use them, and they're tolerated if you use them. But if you ever go, well, my name, I'm they them, people will like give you the nastiest social looks. Now. It's fast. Um, so I just think it's one of those historical years where you just have to like try your best and maybe reassess a little bit. Um, but I know India has a lot more intense political scene sometimes. How people really take it to heart. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Americans,
Completely.
it's just like a little bit different, you know. So like, if someone labels you a conservative, does that mean you're like blackballed from a friend group?
Yes. I mean, the term conservative in itself is not a bad term per se, but as soon as you're labeled as a conservative, the very next thing that is associated with you is misogynist, then somebody who doesn't want females to have rights, somebody who hates Muslims, somebody like the term itself invites and opens yourself to criticisms which are of no actual application. It very much labels you as a boomer, as an old man, as somebody
Yeah.
who's not social, with whom you can't socialize enough, with whom you would not want to be associated with.
So what you're describing, I both see as something that is going to change, but it could end up really good or really bad. Um, so like coming out and saying like you're speaking your mind eventually is going to be the cool thing, because that's what it's becoming in America. The cool thing is to like speak your mind, have a different opinion. That's like being a rebel. And just doing, whatever the current thing is of the time is like dorky, and I'm pretty sure that's probably happening in India too, at just the base level where you really can't see it, and then it'll eventually become like a social thing. The dangerous part about it is when you have a left wing overreach, that can lead to a right wing backlash of like fascism and like some pretty difficult crap, And I don't know what that looks like, but you know, that's what just it hasn't happened. Like everyone, like that's every country that's supported like a very right wing candidate hasn't went crazy. Like if you look at Italy when they elected that one lady, she's just funny and doesn't just is like every other politician, just is corrupt.
Oh, Georgia Maloney is like loved in India. People love Georgia Maloney, and
Really?
every time
Oh, so
there's
I
a
just
photograph,
insulted someone who loved in India. Oh, okay.
every time. a photograph of Prime Minister Modi and Georgia Meloni comes out in public, the Indian audience just loves it. We have hashtag Melody, uh, Modi and
Wow.
Georgia Meloni.
Like, so
We
why is she
ship
so
them.
well liked?
Uh, it's a meme thing. Basically, it's a internet humor thing. We basically ship them together. We kind of see them as a as a romantic pairing. Like that's the internet meme culture thingy. But yeah, we she is a very beloved and respected person in India.
That's interesting. In America, she's loved by the right wing. Um, the left wing thinks she's a fascist, but most people just don't know who she is.
The left
You
wing
know.
thinks everyone is fascist. Left wing.
Yeah. So, like with those words you were saying earlier about being called misogynist, this or that,
Yeah,
that's dying because they've done it too much, and they're just weaponized words that don't mean anything anymore. Because these people that say that haven't even talked to a real misogynist before. Because if they have, their like brains would melt, like with what these people will say, because they're not stupid people. I've
because
talked to them.
misogynists don't exist anymore. Like who? That's it's 2024. I don't really think any person with more than four brain cells is a misogynist. I don't. I
So in America, you'll occasionally get the rebel guy that is the misogynist, but he brings it from the well, he's doing it for money too, for a podcast, right? Like it's
Yeah.
the red pill thing, the Andrew Tate thing,
Oh, right.
and it's all for money, but they're not dumb people. So you know, just calling anyone and everyone a misogynist, that's an insane thing to do that will only lead to people hating you and hating your side and everything you stand for. And that's what's happening. Like, I really dislike a lot of Democrats now. And again, I'm a historic Democrat, and if I'm feeling that way, there has to be a lot of other people feeling that way. Trump is funny. They are fucking with messing with him. Um, it's just such a weird time. Um, how about that Javier Milei guy from Argentina? Did you know who I'm referring to?
I am aware of it, but as a nation, India does not really like we don't really bother much with Latin American countries or South American countries. So like for most of Indians, Argentina means Messi. Nothing else matters to us. Lionel Messi. That's it.
Interesting. Well, Argentina used to be one of the top 20 richest countries, and they went really heavy socialist, and it was going well for a while, and then they let the bureaucracy get too big,
Yeah,
and they mismanaged. Right,
surprise. Yeah,
right,
who would have thought?
and they mismanaged it, and so basically they just elected this guy that's an anarcho-capitalist, and he is just cutting everything. And he actually might save their economy through these drastic actions because of how deep they went to one of the like that one economic direction that some crazy person's needed to like cut everything. It's wild, man. But he also dresses up like a superhero. He's an interesting cat. Like look into him. He's like a wild person.
Yeah, I was
Um,
recently looking into the Belarus, or I think what was who's that guy? I think Turkmenistan. Yeah, the guy from Turkmenistan, the horse guy. He loves horses, does crazy stuff.
yes, and he has his own like biography about how he like invented everything and uh,
Yeah.
or he had to have
Reminds
sex.
me of reminds me of Aladdin from the movie The Dictator.
Yeah. Oh man. Yes, he had to make it more pointy. Um,
Right. So what's happening in the school? How's the school? What does that look like?
so this has been like a real tough semester for
Mhm.
me. Probably one of my toughest. So um, we are like this is our next week is our finals, like finals week for us, and it'll be sort of an easy week. Then we got the Christmas holiday, and hopefully that'll be a good break. But yeah, this was a challenging year for me for a variety of reasons, um, but one main one. So like I moved rooms and I moved into they just do this randomly because it's a Title I school and they're always moving people around because administrators get ideas to how to make everything perfect. So now I'm in a room that was used to teach Spanish, so they have these Spanish headphones for no reason. I just have them, so that's great. Public school, yay. Um, but that's not the main thing. It's like I had a couple of funerals to go to this year. I had a uh, my great uncle passed away, and he was 93, and he was with it till the end. Like he passed away reaching over for a TV remote, watching college football, which is a fantastic way to go. I think watching college football, just bending over, and he fixed fire engines. He was one of the few people in the South that could do that. So he was a good dude. So that made it difficult. And then some other things with like people I know in my town that had like fentanyl is bad. It's bad. And, like it's not how the media portrays it. You know, like if you ever watch anything on fentanyl in America, it's nothing like they present it. It's a lot more quiet that no one knows if someone's taking it, and sometimes it's not intentionally taken. Like people will take another drug and they just like cocaine, which is big in this area. It's Florida, so I mean,
It might be laced with fentanyl.
yes, that's exactly what's happening to the. And it's the idiot dealers in Florida that are doing it to stretch their dollar, and the cartels don't like that. But like that are supplying the stuff. So I've heard, and there's like people are like getting like murdered and stuff over this because the cartel does not want to lose one their customers, and also they know the DEA. It, when someone dies from a fentanyl overdose like that, they come hard at people, and they can be frightening. They don't get any results outside of just raiding people and killing them. So that's what they do. And they take bribes. So that's been sort of sad. That's epidemics hit Florida hard. But as for the actual school year, it's been difficult. Like students are very apathetic, and when you have personal stuff then go on in your life, like as a teacher, you're taught to always keep anything in life, politics, religion, your feelings at the door. You leave it at the door, and you go, and that's your job. Well, that can be pretty hard to do sometimes. When you're dealing with different things in your personal life, and then when everyone's apathetic and just like drooling on their phones and like don't care, even if you have them put their phones away and they're just like brain dead zombies that don't care about their future. They're despondent with a bunch of despair. Um, that it got to me. It did get to me, and I let it get to me and get me down for a couple weeks. And recently, I've been able to bounce back and try to salvage the situation. Um, because if because there's a lot of times it's not their fault, like how they act. It's parents. It's their tragic backgrounds. A lot of these kids have parents in prison, have such dysfunctional freaking families,
Hmm.
and it's like one or two. It's across the board. Like not, I can't think of a student that has both parents, like a mom and a dad. There's usually a single mom or it's grandparents, and that is such a disadvantage. And then you throw on top of it a pandemic where they're told that everything is ending and you're going to kill people, and I can see why they have despair. And the CDC came out recently with an interesting report called the Youth Behavior Risk Study Report. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, but I think if a person is leaving out their feelings, their thoughts, their ideas, their politics at the door, is isn't that what makes us human? Our associations, our thoughts. Why do they need a
Yeah.
teacher inside a room? I mean, you can just put ChatGPT over there and like read like text to
So
speech.
what what they mean by that is they don't want you to um, come into the classroom and basically teach them how to think the way you think.
Okay.
Um, and you know, you could so basically, if you have to teach politics, you should teach both sides of it. So if everyone in the classroom is liberal, you teach them the Republican viewpoint and say, debate me like that. So they learn both sides and why the other people think the way they do, and you're not supposed to take sides. Does that make sense? So
It
you're
does.
you're,
It,
you're
it
like
does make sense. It sounds ideal, but like, would you agree that sometimes listening to both sides does more harm than good? Like, it makes you indecisive. That is the problem with Democrats, that they're listening to all the sides.
yes. So um, that's a good point. So when you develop a personal relationship with a student, that's when you know that if you say something, they're not going to go home to their parents and go to the news and have you crucified. Then you can like sort of let yourself out there and like say, "Oh, I'm this," or you explain why. Um, and if you're this other thing, cool. That's actually really healthy because that's what America should be all about. That's what it was like when I was growing up, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can't date a Democrat or a Republican. It's like that's never been the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I was recently reading this report that people are more lonely than ever, and there's a loneliness crisis. And all of my friends are
so
talking about suddenly that, oh, people leave, people leave. That's because you treat them like shit. Treat people with
that was
respect,
another
and they'll stay.
that was that was another report that came out that I used in my class. It's called "The Epidemic of Loneliness" by our Surgeon General,
Yeah,
um, who I believe is an Indian dude, by the way.
of course.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call him like that, but I think he's a very good Surgeon General because this report is very well done. Um, just with its methodology and what it shows, like it's pretty much due to cell phones. That's what it seems like. Like all this stuff started during the mass adoption. If you like look at the report and look through the data during the mass adoption of the iPhone, and there's just something with that device. Like I don't know if you ever find yourself like watching short videos like TikToks or YouTube Shorts. Like after you watch them, at least for me, I feel like a little bit depressed, and I don't know why.
I think
And I think like it's not. I don't. I never feel good. I'll say that.
I guess like I'm fortunate enough in that regard because TikTok is banned in India. We don't. We were like, no, this has to go.
What
Um,
about Instagram Reels?
yeah, that exists, and what that has turned into is I'm so sick of the political correctness around it. It's a soft porn website now. I'm just gonna go out and say it. That's what
Yeah, it is.
that's what Instagram is for me. It's a soft porn website. Take that, Zuckerberg. What are you gonna do about it? I don't care. I just don't care. Like I have no problem with it. Let it be
Hey,
for what it is.
yeah,
Put it out
weird
there.
question here.
Yeah,
What's the Indian porn rules?
their production is
Are
illegal.
they
Production distribution is illegal. Consumption is not.
okay?
So you can't produce anything explicit. But Indian government and Indian lawmakers are always reactive. They're never uh, preemptive. So they don't predict what the use of AI can be, what the use of deepfakes can be, what the use of Instagram can be. They are always reacting to content. So if a person is willingly putting out their content online, there are no existing laws to tackle that. If you're circulating material which is not your intellectual property in groups and they are of a minor or something like that, then there will be intervention for distribution of obscene material, production of obscene material. Actually, it is illegal to produce material, contents, or speech, video, content, or speech. It is illegal to produce any form of media that affects the dignity of females. So in India, women are sacrosanct. You cannot insult the dignity of a woman in India through your speech, through your production, through any piece of contemporary media or literature. You can't. So
So how would one insult the dignity of a woman?
uh, could be through domestic violence, could be through allegations of sexual promiscuity, could be
Oh,
through Like,
So you're like calling her a slut.
yeah, if you do that, it is the case that will be filed
Interesting.
against you will be like, it will be Malay Pandey versus the state of Uttar Pradesh versus the state of New Delhi versus the state of India. So the government of India will fight that case. Not that woman. That woman only has to report that this guy has insulted my sacrosanct thingy, and so the government of India will say, okay, you're a criminal against the state. The crime that you have committed is against the state, not against that female.
Fascinating. So some girl gets mad at you and is just like, I'm gonna screw this guy over.
This is a
Bam.
huge issue in India. False rape cases, false
Wow.
cases of sexual assault, false cases of harassment, false cases. So this is why in office workspaces I get so worried. Even in college, I have like, I remember I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, a female friend. She said, "Oh, I'm doing an assignment for radio production, something, and I need your bite. I need your clipper." So fine, right. So she said, "Ki." So she didn't say anything. She just walked with me to a separate room, and she was closing the door. And I got so like worried. I said, "Oh, please keep that door open. Do not close that door." I'm genuinely scared of being alone in a room with a female right now because of I see things. 20 years ago, something happened and somebody says something on Twitter about someone famous, and all of a sudden they lose all of their contracts, all of their payments, all of their upcoming opportunities. It's scary.
I bet it is, especially in a culture, from what I understand of
Yeah, yeah, please,
India,
please.
how intense it can be,
Exactly.
how scary that is. I mean, it's scary in America,
And
but
in India, the process of justice is so slow that the process is the punishment. It's like kind of like slap suits.
oh
The process is the
yeah.
punishment. You keep on fighting. Like if you lost your job, you gone.
So if you're just like an average dude and get charged with that, your job is gone. If you had like a good like mid-level tech job,
Tech companies will not hire you.
wow.
Public, you can't work for the government of India because there is a form that says if you were ever convicted of a crime, gone. So the only option is starting a business, and even when you're starting a business you need a tax number, and for that you have to register. So why you're registering, you again were you ever charged as a criminal? The moment you take yes.
Wow, that's yeah, that's crazy, man. Um, so another thing we did in the sociology class was I had them do like like a report on their home area and like research deviance and crime, and somehow the child predator site came up. And in America, when you're charged with one of those crimes, you have to register, and they have a map of everyone in America that is registered and where they are. And so you can pull up your home and see them. And like some students did that and like just saw the sheer amount of people with those type of charges. Um, so in India, like, do they have like how does that work over there? What are like the laws? Because I'm just trying to like understand all like the intricacies and the differences of actual living like in like, India compared to like America.
Okay, so there is no digital system where you can search up criminals. If you want to find a criminal, you just go to the parliament building. So that's where you'll
Is
find.
that part? Is it where are you now?
No, no, I'm in Uttar Pradesh. I'm in Lucknow. I said if you want to find criminals, you just go to the parliament. The lawmakers are the criminals. So all the lawmakers.
Oh, I didn't get the joke. Oh,
So, so that's where you find the
fair enough.
criminals. So in order to become a politician, you need to be at least 35 years of age and
Yes.
a criminal. There, I said it. I said it. Right. So if you have a criminal charge against you, you have a career. Anyway, so on a serious note, there is no digital record available for criminals like such. Uh, there is there is a process through which you can get bail and you can like continue living, but it will be difficult for you to find employment because every time you approach a good company that pays good amount of salary, they will do a police verification of you, and they will ask you to get it done yourself. So you have to go to the nearest uh, police station and say, I want a verification done. You can bribe the cops technically. I mean, there are things that you can do to avoid that record being shown, but as soon as they search up your work history and your profile, They will find a significant gap in your resume and they will ask you why you were fired. So it's not a good idea to lie. And anyway, HRs talk all the time. So if you are in tech, it's very difficult to find a job if you have been convicted of a crime like that, especially when most HRs are female. So
Yeah, yeah. It's that's interesting how you said you can like maybe bribe the cops to get around the records.
I mean, it's a universal
Um,
thing. It's not
no,
specific to
you
India.
know,
It's
it's
like
just no, it exists in America. It's just the price is really high. Like it's beyond any average person. Like
right, right, right.
I love when people say, "Oh, America's not corrupt. We don't have these problems." It's like, no, we do. It's just the prices are too high right now. Like you would need 100 grand or 300 grand to like bribe these people because of they make enough money and they have a pension, so they're not willing to give that up in exchange for corruption.
Yeah, right. I
And I
mean,
don't know if that's a solution, for other nations or what.
I guess in India, the chain of corruption works from top to bottom rather than bottom to top. So if you have that level of money, you will not bribe the cop. You will bribe the commissioner. Like you will like the bribery level will change, right? So if you have like 100 grand, like you said, you'll not bribe a cop. You'll bribe the some senior politician, some senior bureaucrat, so somebody else. So it's like it's I mean, I guess that is one area where there was a stand-up comedian who said this, that Indian cops are the best. They're the most caring. They want to make relationship with the people work. I don't trust the government. Government wants to take away all your money. If you're not wearing a helmet, it's a 5,000 rupee fine. But thank God there are cops in between, because if a cop stops you, no, no, sir, not 5,000, 200, go. So cops care about us. The government does not. That's
um, that's wild. So like just to finish answering your question, yeah, the school year it's been difficult, but got through it in one piece. Um, it's raining outside if you can hear that.
oh, how cold is it out there?
So this is a cold front coming in, and it's probably like 70 right now, so not that cold, but it will get down. It's been in the 40s lately, so it's pretty cold in Florida. Um, and basically, these rain fronts bring in the cold fronts. Um, so it's like every other week.
Does it snow over
But
there?
it never snowed. No, it maybe it snowed in Tampa where I live one time in 1986, and by snow I mean there was like light frozen rain that once it hit the ground it disappeared.
Okay.
Like so, no real snow. It snows maybe in northern Georgia, like real snow. But no, we're too humid for stuff like that. Like we are just one big humidor swamp with a lot of different creatures.
I think
Um,
it's because of the Everglades and like all the Miami and whatnot. I think it's because of the Everglades.
yeah, and they're restoring the old Everglades. That's one thing DeSantis is doing that I do appreciate. They're spending like $1 billion to turn them back into more of a wet grassland, um, because they also think that may help with the python problem.
Mm.
Um, so it's interesting. Now his presidential campaign is dead. He has no chance. Um, it's Trump all the way. Like I don't even see Biden beating him. Like it'll be tough for because he's on such a roll, and unless the courts put a stop to it, it's hard to see him losing, especially if the Democrats run who they're planning on running.
Yeah, I guess
Um,
the shift towards the right is coming in the it's majorly coming from the middle class, because there are a lot of people like me
yes,
who are part of the middle class who are done who are just tired of paying taxes and seeing that their tax dollars are being used in giving freebies to people. Like like I don't want the taxpayer money to go buy food or homes for somebody who is not contributing as much value to society as I am, while my kid has to struggle to get the opportunities. I don't want that.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, we're in a right. It's interesting you're saying this because this means we're. It's not only a right wing moment in America. This is a right wing moment in the world.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
happening here. And it's happening over there. So that's an interesting conclusion. It's happening in Europe too, and in South America. So this is sort of fascinating.
I think
All
it's
this stuff
because of
that's
it's because of global inflation. See, when prices are going up, people are struggling to make ends meet. And then you see, okay, I'm making to make ends meet. I'm struggling. I'm losing the quality of the food that I'm getting, losing the quality of products that I'm buying. At the same time, sure, sure. Yeah. So
that.
yeah, and so at the same time, you're seeing billions and billions of dollars being put into things which are like providing anything. Oh, we're gonna give free food to 80 million people. Why? No, 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 you're not. The hell you are. The hell you are giving my money to somebody else. The hell.
Yeah. Um, it's especially if that all that stuff if that is being all the tax money that is being taken is if it is being used for nefarious purposes. This is how wars start, insurrection. So I'm hoping that doesn't go that way. I read this good book called The Fourth Turning,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about how every 80 years there's a turning of civilization and how we're in one now. And one of his points is like, you know, weak men make hard times and tough men make easy times. And right now, um, we're in a transitional phase. So actually reading that book helped me sort of like snap out of the funk I was in. Like, hey, I got to sort of be like a leader, like to these kids. Like, I can't be moping around and depressed around them because they see that enough from their parents. Um, they see that enough from society. Like, I need to be I have the opportunity to be the different guy that does the crazy max, has fun, who's active, that says it can be like life is more than your cell phone. So that's helped me. That's sort of realization. Um,
Yeah, this is something
I
that.
personally,
Mhm. Go on, go
hmm?
on.
I was just about to say, I personally think they're going to end up banning cell phones across in schools outright soon in Florida. But overall, the psyche of the students hasn't been good. Teachers as well. So I just think people need to like I don't know get a different mindset because that helped me.
Yeah, I think this is something that I have observed in myself. Like, if you approach someone with lot of energy, lot of compassion, and lot of positivity, a lot of the times they will reciprocate. A lot of the times. Sometimes they won't, and sometimes some people won't. But most of the time, most of the people will reciprocate your energy if you just put enough of it initially. Initially, you'll have to put a lot for 3 4 days, and then after that, you'll see. Okay, I'm hitting up conversation with this person every now and then. It's always great to hear from them, right? I think what the cell phone has done is that the algorithms on social media, the algorithms of political content, social content, dance content, or whatever, they have they've understood exactly what you like, and you have told them basically that okay, I like this. I'm on this side of the spectrum, and I want to hear news stories that support my point of view. So every single thing that you're seeing on social media is reaffirming your belief, and what that ends up doing is that it's actually actively incentivizing you to not engage with the other side, to not uh, to not compromise, to to not do something. Staying together was more important than staying happy 20 years ago. Now instant pleasure is more important than making meaningful deeper connections with the other person. And while I do understand that there is a convenience factor in it, if you live by that for a lot, for like, if every single time you're seeking convenience, if there's a conflict comes between you and somebody that you've known for over 10 years, and on the first instance of inconvenience, if you're stepping out of it, "Oh, no, I don't like this person, I'm going to cut them off," you are going to end up being lonely.
Yes. And if you read the epidemic of loneliness report from the Surgeon General in America, you will see a lot of that is causing the loneliness and the despair. It's cell phones through what you're discussing. Um, and he doesn't give a lot of solutions because I don't think he, you know, it's a complex situation, right? Like he just says relationships are key and you have to develop them. Um, you know, like the 90-year Harvard happiness study
Yeah,
came out too. And that's was all about money is nothing. It's all relationships, you know?
the quality of your
Um,
relationships defines the quality of your life. And relationships take time
yeah,
to cultivate, they take time to build. You can't always live by your
yeah.
convenience.
And they're difficult, man. Like
Yeah,
I read I read this one research paper that said the average friendship or romantic relationship or marriage in America lasts 6 to 7 years. Like that's a like because it included all of them together, and I was just like, wow, that's bad, you know. But then I look at my own life, I'm like, okay, that's kind of
that's it's true.
that's been kind of true. Like it's hard. Sometimes some of these reports are hard to believe, and then you reflect on yourself and you go, well, yeah, no, that's a thing.
Yeah, I mean,
So it
it's marriage season in India, so I am like I was a proper teenager. "Oh, I don't want to marry. I'll never marry. The institution of marriage and family is bad, and this is bad." And then I saw this dude getting a Lexus. He's getting a Lexus
oh for his marriage gift. Like,
gift,
what do you mean?
gift. Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, it's a gift. Sure, sure.
So when does marriage season start?
So it is according to the Hindu calendar. So there are months in the Hindu calendar. There are 10 months in the Hindu calendar, if I'm not wrong. So there are certain times which are considered shagun. Um, like uh, it's based on the moments of the planet and planetary motion and astrology stuff. So there are some windows of time throughout the year. It is called the Lagan season. So it is going on, but I think in the next 15 days there won't be any marriages. After 15 days, again there will be marriage season. So I think in January last week, February first week, marriage season will start. I have a marriage in Rishikesh. It's the place where the Ganga River starts, the Ganges River. It is one of the holiest rivers in India. So it starts from that
Yeah.
glacier in Rishikesh. So one of my clients, she is getting married. So she has
Oh
invited me
wow.
and my entire team to come to the wedding. So we'll be going in the first week of Feb.
Oh, I look forward to seeing some of the pictures from it. See,
Definitely, definitely. So
yeah.
marriages in India,
So
best
oh, I
best
know.
festival, greatest time, lots of free
I
food.
remember. Yeah, I remember looking at some of your photos. It's just so wild because I thought America did it up, and it's nothing. It is literally nothing compared to what you like. It's it's undescribable. Like how marriages go in India. Like it's an amazing, awesome thing. It really is.
Like I
So
was
this
looking
one you're
at,
going
sorry to interrupt. I was just looking at the production crew of the marriage. They were using
production.
they were using drones to shoot that the Ukrainian army does not have drones. We have them. We have
For Indian
drones
marriages.
for recording marriages. The Ukrainian army does not have drones for surveillance. We have them for our marriage.
Oh, that's a oh, that's too funny.
it's,
Um,
it's crazy how important marriages are to us. We want the production crew, we want the ice cream, food.
yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, I know it's probably half like bragging to
Yeah,
everyone you
it's a
know.
status thingy.
Yeah, but I mean, also you probably want people to have a good time too. I'd
Yeah, yeah.
imagine, because then that's also a status thing too. If they have a good time, you know.
Exactly. Like the moment you enter any place, the host will actually genuinely get upset if you do not eat. The moment you enter, The first question they ask, have you eaten anything? They'll call the waiter, they'll call the food staff, like make sure this person has eaten at least 50 kgs worth of food. Make sure he does not leave. Like people are, the host will actively try to feed as many people as possible. That eat. Have you eaten this? Have you tried this? Have you tried this? Go eat it. Waiter, bring the food here on this table. Sit. Come sit. It's a great
Oh, that's
time.
interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, like American marriages are not like that. It's usually just a buffet. So, um, that's cool, man. Yeah, like so the one you're going to this this upcoming one
Yeah,
is at the mouth of the Ganges,
yeah.
and it's a glacier.
Uh, it's a it's a valley and then there's a mountain, so it's a hilly region. It's the closest city to the glacier. It is where the river
Oh, wow.
runs the fastest. So if you're sleeping at night in a hotel in, let's say, 5 kilometer radius, you can actually hear the river. It moves at such high speeds at night. You can actually hear the river.
Oh, wow. What's the city called?
Rishikesh, 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 Uttarakhand, India. My dad visited that place probably 10, 13 years ago.
Huh.
I can show you
Um.
the place that I'll be staying at. Would you like to see?
Okay. Yeah.
I'll just share my screen. Uh,
Oh, it's a cool little spot. Um. So I was looking at some pictures of the area. It's a it's a fascinating place, man. India is so just different, like from one place to another.
it's huge. I'll just.
So you never been to this place?
I've never been there. My dad visited it around 10 years back. So I'll just share the
Oh,
hotel that we have decided to stay at.
yeah.
Okay, can you see?
How far is it?
From my city, it's almost a fifth. I think it's a 12 to 13 hour train journey.
13 hours.
13 hours of
Okay.
train journey because there are no flights that go
Oh,
directly to
train.
Rishikesh. So this is the
Have you ever
rooftop.
seen something?
Hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's cool. That's just a good view. Oh, the mountains. Is there like a temple back there?
Which one?
Uh, I don't know. It might just be like in the very back. It's like a temple. Maybe not.
Indian temples will always have a conical or a, yeah, they'll always have a conical structure like the
Okay.
pyramid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
this is the hotel.
that's cool, man.
Yeah, this is the rooftop.
Yeah, that's a view, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um,
So I think
oh,
it'll be a
you
fantastic journey. Let's see.
yeah.
And
So, have you ever seen a movie called The Darjeeling Limited?
the Darjeeling Limited, no.
So, so it's Darjeeling, Darjeeling.
It's
It's
a
something. It's
city.
in India.
It's a city in India. It is where tea
Okay,
plantations happen. It's famous for its tea.
so it's a movie called about a train called the Darjeeling Limited,
Okay.
and these three. It's a Wes Anderson film, so it's a little weird, but it's about these three rich brothers that are traveling across India to get like inheritance or something, and it's Owen Wilson, uh, and just some other famous actors I forget. And it's just the weirdest, funniest one. I really think it's funny. Some people don't because it's odd, but it's on an Indian train.
Okay.
So they have like the rich, like the rich front, like suites or rooms, but then they're constantly running through the train through like everyone else that and they're just bothering them and acting. It's a funny movie just to check out like how an American would view an Indian train. So that might be interesting for you.
No, no, it's fine.
I think they did a good job of it, but of course I've never been to India or on an Indian train, so I don't really know.
I
Um,
Yeah, I guess
so
Indian
how is the
Railways.
Indian train?
Indian Railways is a complete history on its own. Like I think Indian Railways has just as intense history as India does. So the intercity small trains, the local ones, they are horrible. Uh, they are just as bad as the New York metros. That's the closest, the New York subway. I recently
Yeah.
traveled in one of the most high end, top class trains of India, the Vande Bharat. It is one of the latest and fastest additions to the system, and I actually found I liked it. It was great. I got food inside the train, and it's a fascinating train. Let me see if I have photos of the train and the food. Um, it was great actually. I like, if you have the money, then the journey for you is very different than if you don't have money. I guess like it's the same in all
Yeah.
other, but
Yeah. Same in America. You know.
yeah, but trains are
Um,
generally way more economical. I think I, I, I think it's amazing how cheap and affordable travel has become, and how good it actually is. Okay, I'll just send you the photograph of the train on WhatsApp. Um, yeah, this is the front of the train, and let me see if I have the photo of the food. Yeah, okay, so we received a cookie and a lot of goodies. And when the train started, like when the train just became operational, every passenger would receive a rose for traveling in the latest train.
oh wow. Huh. That's like almost like going. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's like anywhere now. The more money you spend, the better the experience. The trains in America are underutilized. Believe it or not,
Hmm.
they lose money because we're such a car
Car
culture.
country, yeah, US is a car country.
Yeah, like that. The American. It's called. Oh, I forget what's even called. It's called the Am something. Amway. No, I don't know. Joe Biden heavily supports it, and he's keeping it afloat. And it's actually not a bad experience. It's not like nice as that, but it's not that much. It's just older, and they give you food. You have a little cabin. It's just like not a lot of people go on it, and it like there's some train trips that if you go across the country, I would recommend taking them. Let's say you want to go from New York to LA, take a train, and you would see all of like the countryside and all the cool stuff. You know, so there are some good train experiences in the U.S., but overall, we are a forward country, baby. So it's hard to get America. Like my area has tried to build an above ground subway or whatever monorail, whatever you want to call it, for like thirty
Above
years.
ground subway.
What I know, that's a very Florida thing to say. Um, so a train, or otherwise known as a train. Um, say it's late here. Um, so every time it gets voted down
NIMBY.
and voted down harshly, people get so mad at it. Like,
How dare you suggest it?
well, they'll start going to the meetings and start saying, "You're gonna try to take my car away." Blah blah blah. And everyone's like, "No, we're trying to build a train. You're gonna take my car away." And it's like it gets so absurd that like the poor bureaucrats are just like, "Oh my god, no." So I mean, that's always healthy though in a democracy for people to do that to the bureaucrats. Though
I I, I recently came on across this. I didn't come across it. Like there is this, you know about Chinese whisper, right? So one information travels from person to person. It changes. It morphs.
yeah, yeah,
So for my final year project, we have to again give a research paper, give a theory. Last time I wrote a paper about marriages and their institution. This time I'm actually trying to understand the flaws in systems of mass communication, especially in terms of legal and uh, like basically things regarding laws and corporate policy frameworks and government institutions. what I'm trying to say
Interesting.
is, are you aware of basic thermodynamics, basic
Say that again.
physics, elementary, basic thermodynamics, basic physics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is every time you spray a liquid, you press the spray button, so the liquid it transforms into tiny small droplets. That's the spray. So in physics, we have a formula that says C is equal to sorry Q is equal to mc delta T. So the
Mm-hmm.
specific heat capacity, the mass, and the change in temperature, and that gives the value of Q. So in thermodynamics, the temperature of the spray, individual droplet, will always be less than the temperature of the liquid which is inside the bottle once it is sprayed out, because the mass reduces, right?
Yeah.
So
Huh.
I'm proposing an idea that every time a communication which is very dense with jargon, such as communications of the court, communications of United Nations, communications of corporate policy, every time they come to the public, they lose some essential information, some essential context, and they lose the value in a very similar way to MC delta T. So I have yet to uh, formally write down this paper. Like, this is just an idea which came to me. Now, since I did my schooling with physics and science, and now I'm studying humanities, I think I can find a I think I can find a solid connection and replace the values of MC delta T with information such as identity, context, and let's see what I can make of this theory.
That's a brilliant idea. Um, because I as like my physics knowledge is probably not up to par as it should be just because it's been a very long time.
Understand?
Um, but the way you explained that and then explained it into your you know thesis, that makes sense. It makes like in layman's terms, that makes sense. The way you put it, like the math equation is one thing, but the way you did the bottle to the droplets to the governmental information complex to releasing information and how that gets diluted. Um, if I got that like somewhat right,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I am saying. For example, there was
that's,
a yeah.
mhm.
Say.
I'm just saying it's fascinating. There's something there. I'm gonna have to think about it, like
Yeah,
wrap my head around it
yeah,
because it's interesting.
yeah. Exactly. So if the government is saying, oh, I want to build a high speed train, and some guy is getting, oh, you're taking my car away, some information is being lost in there is some part of the document that this guy has not read. Something is wrong here. Like, there is some
Yes.
miscommunication. Some context is missing.
So you could say that, well, for that guy, you probably didn't read everything. Like the
Y-
reasoning could be very nuanced,
Yeah, exactly. I
but
mean, you can't expect every
like
citizen to understand the legal jargons and understand terms like perpetuity, but don't use words
but
like perpetuity.
the culture should be though. If you show up to one of those meetings, you should know what's being talked about. If you care that much to spend your time, if not, just stay on the couch, eat your potato chips, and watch freaking American Idol. If you're gonna show up, and I'm all about showing up, but don't just show up to yell nonsense. Like if you really do believe the project is evil, why? Most of the times it's corruption, it's tearing up what like there's some arguments to be made, and that they never seem to be made. Um, but yeah, no, that type of stuff does dilute the information. Like Alex Jones is like would be a great example of a great diluter, or a great like a thing that just messes up those pieces of information out there.
Every time somebody is trying to give a simple solution to a complex problem, they are trying to sell you something. It's just as simple as that. Because I
Yes.
see a lot of kids, like, this was a major point of contention between students of our class. Final year journalism students, media production students, the students who are supposed to be the smartest, most wittiest, most well versed with communication language terminologies, and whom we expect to use words very carefully, very precisely, are fighting over Israel and Palestine by watching a 30-second reel. They're saying, oh, I watched a 30-second reel. See, this is what Palestine has done. It's a 70-year
So
history.
yeah. So what's the general feeling in India? This is I think I was wondering. What's the general feeling in India with that situation?
Majority of right wing, conservative. Indians support Israel because Muslim bad.
Yeah.
But there are some liberals, and there are people who support Palestine. There are organizations. Those who do support Palestine are often labeled as liberal, are often labeled as secular. Uh, so it's a mix. It's on a spectrum, of course. Uh, in academia, the general consensus is violence done on any side by any side is bad. There is a very
So
small segment. Gone.
I say that's very similar to America, where there's different elements of the right that just outright support Israel because they want war with Iran too. But then there's the other half of the right, of the Trump populist right, that is totally against any escalation whatsoever. But they do heavily support Israel. Um, and then on the left, there half of it really supports Israel, but then the other half is so super Palestinian, like supporting that. Um, but some like intelligence officers though are not happy with Israel from the stuff I've been reading with what they're doing in their operations. They're
Yeah.
not listening to military advice from the Americans like, hey, don't be fighting in those tunnels. That's a death trap and you need to stop bombing these buildings. Like, and they're not listening to America apparently. Like, and I guess the CIA is getting really upset at that. And
Oh my god. The CIA gave money to someone in the Middle East, gave them weapons, and now they're not listening to them. Oh. Oh. Who would have thought? Who would have seen this coming? When has it
yeah,
happened before? Oh, the
yeah.
heartbreak. Oh my god.
And Biden just can't. He can't even put the words together to say what needs to be said. Like,
America is all about.
all it does it just it just takes it'll take a strong leader to like put a stop to this because Netanyahu is not even well liked in Israel. I don't think, from what I've read.
Yeah, like he was about to like that country has changed more leaders than my ex has changed, but okay, I need to move on. Too dark, too soon. But my point being, that country can't decide a president. Who is the president of Israel? Is it Netanyahu? Is it Yair Lapid? Is it Naftali Bennett? Who is it right now? Every month it's
Right.
changing. Who the hell?
It's so. And then the argument in America is so one side or the other side, that it's so nuanced. Even in Israel, if you actually follow what Israel newspapers say, that I just tend to go, you know what, whatever. This is not worth any argument for me. I don't like the deaths of children on either side. How about we try to get the American hostages out, wherever those are? But the problem is that like half the hostages are also, or the American hostages are also Israeli citizens, and some of them are being held by Palestinians that are also Americans. So what do we do there?
I guess
I don't
it's.
know.
I'm sometimes surprised and baffled. Like we are human beings. We sent people to moon in 1960. We sent human being on moon, and this is the same species that cannot comprehend that two things can be true at the same time. The failure to accept that fact that more than one thing can be true is baffling to me.
Well, it's like all this alien stuff coming out now. It seems like a useful distraction. But let's say there is aliens. Why wouldn't they contact us? Well, just look at us. We're war apes. Like we fight. Like as soon as one of their ships come down, we're shooting at it. And like, oh, Mexico's doing this, so let's attack them. Let's send the military down. And like, so why would they come here? They're just gonna get like, you're going against this psychotic primate thing that's super intelligent, that finds ways to eradicate things that are a danger to it. So I think that, even though I don't really believe in aliens,
This is something
uh,
which I was personally like the thing you said. It just I was having this argument with an old friend of mine. We were together for 4 years, and I was actually surprised at the amount of initiative she took to initiate a fight, and like, so the amount of effort people are willing to take to create something destructive. and they're not willing to put 1% of that effort to create something good or to ever just say, hey, what's up? Like that thing you said, this is exactly what I was talking to her about. That the reason why we stopped talking, the reason why a lot of people stop talking, because the only time people are willing to take effort, take initiative, is when they have something hurtful to say to you, when they want to say something mean. But for saying something nice, all of a sudden, "Oh, I was busy, I didn't have internet connection, I was this, I was that, exams and this and that." Mm.
Yeah. Um, it's a difficult time, and then it's going to be interesting to see how with how quickly India has industrialized and liberalized, if it'll go down a similar path of America with like post. I'm not a big believer in postmodernism, but like just some of like modern institutions started to produce things, like toxic feminism, for example. Is that is that in India?
To some extent, in tier 1 cities, yes. uh, Tier 2, tier 3 cities, it is still difficult to find. I mean, there are still people who are misogynist in India. But what I have found in academia is that most misogynist, not misogyny, I think uh, the feeling of protection towards women and trying to oppress the woman in order to protect them, it comes mostly from other women and not from men.
Ooh, yeah, I I would like to agree with that for the most part, 90%.
There was
Like
some,
it's
yeah, go on, go on.
like so I work with a lot of actually there's a good amount of males at my school, but throughout my career I work with a lot of females, and I've never had a problem with any of them, like at all. Um, the only other problem I've actually ever had at my work was with one of my bosses several years ago, that I just viewed him as a psychopath, but that was a short amount of time. Most women I get along with fine, but then they will sit and just talk incredible amounts of junk about another female. And I'm just like thinking, this has nothing to do with me. Why are you in here or something like? And it's just like this culture where they're nice to each other's faces, but as soon as their backs are turned, these are teachers that work in the same building. They say the most vicious like stuff I would not even dream of saying.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing. You know, like why maybe like evolutionary that is. Competition is it um, like some genetic program? I don't know. I don't know. Something interesting to think about. Um, so,
I
how are
guess.
your parents and everything?
Sorry.
How are your parents and your family?
Everything is going great. Like, fortunately, I think in the past 2 3 years, not the 2 3, I'd say like from the past 1 year, we have economically grown substantially. Probably because I also got my first job and then I quit because I didn't want to work a lot. Like, I didn't need to. Uh, so like, it has been an economic, uh, like, I think our standard of living has increased significantly. Uh,
Awesome.
our house, this current place that you're living in, it's twice as big as the previous one, and the previous one was more than sufficient. Uh,
That's awesome to hear, man. I love hearing about success, man. Like so much negativity in the world that success is just awesome to hear about. Um, like
Many
how is the
thanks.
housing in your area? Is it like easy to get?
Just a second, sir.
No problem.
Hey, hi. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Oh, no problem.
how's the housing you were asking?
Like the housing market. Like, is it
Okay.
easy to like buy a house if you're like a couple starting out, or do like family have to help out? Like, or do you move in with like your family?
Uh,
Like, I'm just wondering how it works.
so Indians generally live with their family for longer periods of times. Few of them move out, especially in tier 1 cities. People are living mostly on rent because they're there for jobs. The housing market is very competitive. Everything is very expensive right now. So
Mm.
people don't buy a house. They are often more than 90% of the houses in India are uh, they're on mortgage, if that makes sense. Like, so you pay a monthly fee to the bank.
Well, yeah, that's similar in
That's
America.
yeah, exactly. So
The
that's how it
30-year.
works. Yeah, 20 years, 30 years. So you do have to make a down payment, but like it is not as bad as China. It is a healthy market. Um, People buy homes for stability, and it's great. I think it's a great investment opportunity for a lot of people. This current area that I'm living in, it is so peaceful. In like 200-meter radius, it's all greenery, all grass. You see birds, horses, cows. Fascinating,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
cool.
there are private colonies of societies. It's very elite in that sense, and only people of certain caste and certain religion were allowed to buy houses from the dealer itself. The dealer would not sell the place to anyone outside of the caste. So this is a society which is very very
Still
similar surnames.
fast-paced. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's still cool, man. I'm glad that y'all are able to achieve that.
Segregation
Like,
based housing, I guess.
well, that's don't let the American liberals fool you. That's still very much the case in America. Okay, like even let's say just you just make a bunch of money, but you come from a poor family. It's less of a big deal in America compared to like Britain, but there's still a stigma. They call you new money, and people tend to like rappers, for example, flash their wealth. That's the last thing you do if you're old money in America is do any sort of flashiness. You don't drive a nice car. Well, I mean, you can drive a nice car. It just can't be a flashy like Lambo. Like that, they see that as white trash. Like so, the people that like they're like I'm gonna get a Bugatti and this or that to like actually really rich people.
Those are not also practical. No, those cars are not at all practical. They have terrible mileage. They have high maintenance. They have two seats.
It's for people that are insecure about their status in society. It really is, and it's fascinating psychologically to me that someone would buy something that they can't resell for like a lot of money. That's like has no use outside of driving fast, so you get a ticket. Um,
So you get a ticket.
and, and when people see you in it, they don't want to be you. They just want your car. So it's the weirdest thing when you could have put all that money into some index fund and let it grow and make a lot of it's just a weird thing. Um, so that's like how the sort of old caste in America will judge. But they also have a lot of respect for like other lower rungs of society. They despise the new rich. It's they like to them they're the untouchables, the new rich to the old rich. They would much rather work with the working class dude plumber because they value them and respect them and what they do for society compared to the new rich who they viewed as did some scam to get rich and are a danger to their community where they know the cool like the average plumber isn't right so the dynamics of that type of thing is kind of interesting but it feels like I'm talking your ear off.
No, 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 no. I'm listening. It's actually very interesting how people perceive money and things related to it. Actually, I was having a discussion on Reddit with some guys because there was this advertisement, this weird ad where there are places in India that don't get a lot of water, places like
Uh-huh.
Rajasthan, etc. So there was this an advertisement where they said we installed a shower. It's a very nice shower with a glass door and a very very fancy shower faucet, whatever that is called, and so they said, "Oh, I installed this in the middle of a desert, and so people of the village came to drink water, and they made their kids drink water, and they were drinking the water from the shower." And then the narration said, "Oh, our entire village uh, got drinking water." And one person in the city was not done with their shower in that point of time. Oh, and I was like, no, I don't feel guilty. No, no. Stop trying to guilt me by saying that I am wasting. No, no, I have earned every drop of water. I've earned my geyser. I've earned my shower. I've earned my standard of living. I have paid taxes on every single one of them. You're not getting shower. You're not getting water to drink. Stop trying to guilt me. No, no.
That's the government's job. That's not your job.
That's not like
That's the local. Oh, I don't know how it works in India, but that's the local
that's the
public
local
works.
municipality or whatever. Like no, no, don't come. I'm just.
Ye-
This is something that I've lost in the last 1 year. I've lost my empathy, my connect to the no, not gonna
Yeah,
happen. Nope.
I think that happens as you grow up a little bit. I'm still a believer in working together to try to achieve a common goal, but I'm very hesitant in trusting big government entities into like achieving things because of the corruption
Yeah,
involved.
exactly.
But I'm less for individualistic, brutal capitalism.
Mhm.
But you know, the Democrats and it seems the liberals are just failing left and right now,
Exactly.
and they're
Like
gross.
the
And they
point
make
of
they're
liberals.
making money.
Yeah,
It's
and like
it's silly.
the point of liberals is to say, oh, like I must, like I should compromise with my standard of living so that some kid in Africa can have. No, no, you compromise on your living. Don't come and brag to me about I should sacrifice this. I got this geezer 6 months ago. No.
It's like Bill Gates saying how you should never drive, never fly in a plane because of climate change.
Oh,
While he goes 4 private jet plane trips a day, it's the same type of thing. It's you know, um,
don't tell.
holier than thou mentality.
Yeah, climate change, all this pandering about climate change. I have just started my youth. I have just started to make some money. It is my Now is my time to give pleasure to my senses. Now is the time that I do engage in behavior. Now is the time that I do engage in consumerism. And it's not like I'm not already heavily taxed on it. Everything that has entertainment value in India is taxed as the highest. It 28% tax.
For what exactly?
28% tax you have to pay on everything that is considered as entertainment. So the laptop that I have bought, even though it's a utility, my laptop for me is a utility, but I have to pay 28% tax on it. So the price of this, let's say if it was $1,000, 2,800 of it was tax.
Whew.
That's crazy.
That's fascinating.
My dad,
Like, yeah, that's
yeah,
the entertainment tax.
my
Whew,
dad got a MacBook, and again 28% tax. I got a gaming laptop, it's 28% tax. And like it, I guess in India, since we were so closely attached to the whole socialist movement, and since when we were independent, a lot of us were hungry and poor and probably died. So we still have that socialist mentality. I call it misery porn, where people will just clothe and will just like the moment they see somebody else living a comfortable life. Oh, you have an air conditioner at home. Air conditioner makes your bones weak and it makes you lazy, and you should not be. I work in the farms. Think about the poor farmer. I don't want to. No. I don't want to think about the poor farmer. It's his fault.
well, the poor farmer would love to have an AC probably, and would
Uh,
buy one if he could. So
I don't.
why don't we work on getting that poor farmer not so poor so he can have an AC?
Yeah, no,
That should be the solution.
that will take work now. Then you'll have to do something. And the poor farmer
Yeah.
is getting electricity subsidies from the government. I have to pay bribe to get an electricity connection. That guy is getting electricity for free. So you're shelling money from me legally, illegally, under the table, on top of tax to subsidize the poor person. You're incentivizing them to stay poor. The Indian government recently came up with a plan to say there are 1 billion people in India, right? More than 1 billion. And the government of India, the Prime Minister actually said this, that we are planning to extend for the next 5 years free food to 800 million people.
Like, what do you mean free food? Like free bread?
Rice, pulses, lentils, food, proper food. They will give
Oh,
you food. If you go to any government, there are government ration shops. So you go to them, you put your thumb, their biometrics, and you show your identity card, which proves that you're an Indian citizen, and here, this is your 5 kilograms of rice and your 5 kilograms of pulses. And
Hmm.
why 800 million people? Why? Why in the last 70 years of independence have 800 million people not gotten out of poverty? Why? Why is my taxpayer money going to them? Why?
Do you think it's trying to stave off like some sort of like uprising or something? Are they not being, or is this just pointless? Like, what made them do this?
I think the sections of society that actually need helping, they did not get help. They were trying surface level things like like suppose if there are people who are um, uh, considered untouchables or are not getting employment benefits, right? Instead of actually reaching to the ground level, teaching them jobs like graphic design, animation, providing them with laptops, internet, and Wi-Fi, and electricity, so that they can get clients in US, because a person sitting in the Middle East does not care if a guy in India is like what caste. I'm giving you $5 an hour, you give me a logo, that's it, that's all the transaction is, right? So immediately economics comes. So instead of delivering that promise, what they instead tried to do was, oh, this is the most elite college in India, we'll give you 5% reservation. So 5% of the people in that college will always be from a certain underprivileged community. Doesn't help.
Yeah.
Doesn't help. It's like saying, let's say in US, if someone says, oh, the black community is marginalized, okay, let's have 5% of the lawmakers always be black. So 5% seats in the lawmaking body will always be people from African American origin. How does that help the neighborhood that is not getting clean water, clean electricity, good food, good hygiene, good sanitation? How does that help? How?
Well, it doesn't, and I mean that's sort of vein of liberalism. It also exists in America with black people. And the sort of welfare mentality that can develop, which people take totally out of context. Like it originally passed in 1968 as a way to get a hand up and out of poverty. It was not supposed to be permanent. It was supposed to be, here's some money, get yourself trained. Here's um, some opportunities, and like the first 3 years of it actually did really well, and then they decided to continue it. And I think if they would have slowly lessened it and made it actually stick to its guidelines, it would have been considered a big success. But then it's it still exists, and it has created. Now, I would get in huge trouble saying this, but it has created a certain underclass in America that depends and wants to depend. That's my problem with it, on this, source of income that's barely enough to get by. Um, but there are people, and here's the paradox: there are people that really do need it and benefit from it. So, I don't know what the solution is. Well, I know what it is: it's efficient government, but that's not happening.
I know.
So,
I know what this.
so,
Yeah, I guess
um,
this is something which, like, this was on a huge level, like government, food, and like I'm seeing this on a much more smaller level. Uh, like in my university, for example, so there is something in India called the right to education. Sounds great in theory, right to education. Every child has a right to study. Okay, great. What that ends up being in the end is that you can't fail a child. You can't fail a child.
that's like No Child Left Behind in America.
So what you're, and this is like my college thinking, I'm not going to name the college, but what happens is, this is something I've observed. The teachers, the professors, some of them are genuinely upset if some other teacher fails a child. They're like, why is this person failing this child? Why aren't they just letting them pass? You're producing students who are not up to the standard. You're handing out degrees to people who clearly don't deserve it, who have not honed their skills, who do not understand the craft. It is diluting the market. You're flooding the market with incompetent people who have done nothing. There are students who have done nothing in the last 3 years, learned not a single thing, and they this a lot of them call me up one day before exams and ask me for notes and all. Like I can share you my notes, but what are you trying to achieve here? And then they come and say stuff like, I want to try an anchoring, I want to do anchoring. Can you teach me anchoring in 6 months so that I can get an internship? No. You've paid this hefty amount of tuition fees. It's a private university. Why did you not attend a single day? And then when I ask you, okay, there is a society. We have a society in our department that does events, that does allow opportunities for students. And then you say, I don't like the people there. Then here is a bowl. Go on the road and do this.
Yeah. Um,
And then these guys will get the degree because the teachers don't want to fail them. So they will get the degree. They will be in the market. Now they'll be in the same market as I will be. What they will end up doing is that they will end up reducing the rate of my work. They'll reduce the value of my work by providing subpar content. If I'm saying, oh, I demand $20 an hour for some work, they know that their value is less, so they'll say, oh, I'll do it for 5, and the person will go to them, and then they will produce a bad product that has subpar quality, and just in order to get by, then I will have to reduce my price to $7, or maybe I will also have to work for 5. So these guys are distorting the market. They are ruining the quality of the product and the service that they are going to provide, because the college thought that instead of actually giving people the value that they deserve, we'll just let everybody pass. We are all equal. We are all average. Congratulations, students. We are all equal. We are all average. We are all
wow.
special. Everybody
So
gets the same treatment.
that has somewhat happened in America too. Not to that extent, but this idea that you should pass kids. Like it started during COVID, and it's ending now in America. Um, but yeah, that's not going to end well. But the one thing I think maybe you can hope for is, the people that can even produce the substandard work that didn't really learn, you know, that's the more exceptional people. The people that did nothing and learned nothing, most of them won't be able to do anything. So the market might be diluted, but in the end, I think you'll beat them. Talent and knowledge always beats, procrastination and laziness, unless you're going against someone like Van Gogh, or not Van Gogh. He was crazy. He took zero, like some epic person, right? Um, so it all depends. You don't know how the world's gonna turn out, but overall, if you put in it, what generally tends to be the equation that always works is if you put in the work and the effort to actually learn the step-by-step process of things and the in-depth knowledge of things, you are leagues ahead of people. And it seems nowadays, with the amount of despair, I tell my students this, with the amount of despair and phones, people staring at their phones all day, there's never been a greater chance for someone to just go out there and kick ass,
Exactly.
and really go be social, meet others, put themselves out there, because everyone wants to hide behind their phones. So this is like a huge opportunity, for people. So if everyone's taking shortcuts, being the one that doesn't will get you ahead.
Yeah, this is something
Like,
I noticed, and this is something that me and my friends always talk about, that in our university, being mediocre is considered great, and that's a great opportunity. Like,
yeah,
so
uh, it,
if and I think that's where the good part is, that if being mediocre is appreciated so much. I mean, like, I'm not saying I will appreciate the goodness of people. I will not congratulate a fish for swimming.
yeah,
That's what
like
professors in India are doing right now with a lot of kids in private universities. So private universities, and this is something that is bothering me for like I think from day one, ever since I've gotten here, is that these places are so liberal. Uh, they incentivize, they actively incentivize the impressionable young people to go off and have fun, go off and dance, go off and participate in events and this and that, which does not produce enough output by value, or does not add value to the lives of others or the people that are involved in those activities, but they pretend as if it is something phenomenal, something great. They're saying, oh, the top universities in US have this tradition of prom, so we are going to bring it here and we are going to allow that. Yeah, but they also have state of the arts education facilities. They also have Wi-Fi. If you're willing to spend a huge amount of money in organizing events where people can dance, why not spend the same amount of money to improve infrastructure of education? Provide great editing software, provide like
Yeah, what makes American education good is not the prom. Like it's not. I mean, that's just like
that's something that
it's
people
like
fail to
how
understand.
India, like how India has their own cultural things. That's just an American thing. It doesn't mean anything outside of it's a thing. Um, what you're saying, actually does determine good education. Like the Wi-Fi in my classroom goes out all the time, and they need to fix it. And they eventually will. But you're absolutely right. Like that is what makes good education, and then giving people the chance to learn that stuff instead of having social events could be fun and stuff. And you know, if it's college, you want to meet and develop connections, but that should never come at the expense of actually learning what you're there to learn.
Yeah, connections
And,
with
you
people
know,
who are worth something, who can give you a seat at that bigger table. Not make connections with people who themselves have done anything yet. And
yeah.
that is the problem. And they pretend like they own the place. This was a very funny conversation I was having with this junior once. We were just sitting in our laboratory, in our media lab, and we were setting we were designing the production set for the podcast that we have in us. It's a club thing. So
Hmm.
we were setting it up and we were testing the microphones and whatnot. And so there is this habit of students here of calling everything with a proper noun. So there is an organization. I'll not name the organization. Let's call it Tigers, like randomly. Okay. So this girl, this junior of mine, she comes to me and says, uh, "Oh, Tigers! The people who are part of Tigers Club, they do this, that." And there's this person from my class who says, "Oh, the person who in Tiger Club, they are biased and they always support the people who are part of their team to win competition and prizes, and they don't let outsiders." And I said, "Hold on, what are we talking about here? What is this club, society thingy? What that? Oh, we do everything. Okay, what is it? We do everything in this university. What are you? Are you a private limited company? Are you a registered firm? Are you an organization? What are you? We are a club. We are a college society. So you are a WhatsApp group. That's what you are. Like I fail to understand why they refer to themselves in proper noun as if they actually, and then they have this arrogance, this smug on their faces. We rule. We run this place. If it was not for us, if it was not for us making the girls dance, then this place would just shut down. Everything in this world would come to a halt. And you Malay, you should be grateful for the opportunity that we are providing you to be in presence. Feel humbled. Why are you not feeling humble? Why are you not feeling grateful for this opportunity that you're getting to see people dance? Why?
I mean, I would just walk away from those people. I'd be like, oh yeah, thank you, man. Have a good day. Like, what's the point of you? I don't know the different social dynamics you have to deal with, but someone like
it's
that would
it's
just be like, hey man, have a good day. Thank you for that
thank you.
opinion.
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna go over here now.
they say the craziest of stuff. Like I think this is back in the first year. One of my friends. I think you've spoken to her once. You remember Dimple? You had a
Yeah,
conversation with her. Yeah. So
yeah.
back when we weren't actually friends, now we are now we are very close. So she came to me and she said that she was also part of a different society and club, and she said, "Oh, we are having this event. It's the biggest event in Asia." What? It's the biggest event in Asia by popul. I eh pumpkin or what? It, 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 how, how, How you're a journalist? You're a journalist, please. How I had to make her sit and show her proper statistics with facts. The Kumbh Mela is the largest gathering. The Chinese Party Communist celebration, the 100th celebration, the 4th of July parade. There are so many things. College teenagers coming together to dance is not an event for the love of God. Somebody explain to these people that
uh,
you guys are you guys don't run anything. You're a bunch of kids, and so am I. I'm not saying that I'm something different. I'm also a kid. Stop taking yourself so seriously. I don't take myself
yeah,
seriously at all. I mean, I'm just a goofy kid. I'm doing goofy things, but I'm actually learning. I acknowledge that I'm a goofy kid. I don't say around. "Oh, I'm part of this club. I associate with this thing. Oh my god, I do this." These guys take everything so seriously. It's like the blue haired girls who run the
yeah,
societies. Gender pronouns affirmation society. I put posters.
yeah.
Great.
And hopefully one day those people will grow up. The people you're talking about will grow up. I have hope in that because the real world, it's not nice to magical thinking, and I think a lot of those people have magical thinking.
That's
Um,
a polite way to put it.
right, right. But all right, Mike, I gotta go hit the sack.
Definitely,
But it's
definitely.
always good talking to you. I always enjoy these talks. They're always great.
Yeah,
They really are.
definitely.
This was a good one tonight. Send me
Yeah,
the link if you
yeah. I'll
if you
upload this.
recorded
I will upload this, and
the
and somebody is
yes
definitely getting a link to it. Somebody is getting a
yeah,
link to it.
yeah send it to me because I actually have some students that are interested in seeing it. So
Oh,
um
how was the last what did the students? What was the last conversation that you had with your students about our conversations?
um so getting them to watch anything now is like pulling teeth because everyone's so apathetic. But the girls, it's girls. Girls are more participative than boys, and they find it interesting. So I hadn't had time to pry their minds, but I'm gonna get them to really watch this one and see what they have to say because this one I think will interest them because it goes over topics that um you know really they can relate to. And I didn't probably emphasize it enough for them to watch it. So I'll do that, and then let's talk before Christmas, so like 10
Definitely.
days,
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
and
definitely.
let's talk around like the 26th or 24th or something, and I'll let you know what they think.
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah, sounds fun.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good day, and always good talking to you, bud.
Same,
And I
same,
look
sir.
forward to talking to
Yeah,
you next week.
definitely, sir. Definitely. Let's hang out and I'll upload this as soon as possible.
Awesome. You're awesome, bud, and I hope you have a great night or great day.
It's 11. I think it's 11 a.m. in off Sunday. Big day coming up.
Yeah,
Let's see.
it's 12:30 Sunday here, so
Okay. Yeah. Please have a great sleep, and you have had coffee, so it might take longer for you to wake up. But you're an amazing teacher. It's always phenomenal talking to you. You are very understanding and you listen. Great,
well, I
great.
appreciate that, bud, and you are doing everything you should be doing, and you're doing. It's been amazing to see how you have like grown as a person over these last couple of years.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
think.
very interesting
Yeah, you've
from the
actually.
first person I talked to into the person now who's like super confident. And so just keep doing what you're doing, man. You'll do good things.
I
So
think the first time that I spoke to you, back when I had written my book, that conversation I did with the phone. I put my phone on a tripod, and we had that conversation on. I think I don't remember, like back in the day, and today sitting here on this desk with a
yeah, right.
step.
So that's why I like these. It's just a cool thing to do. So
Uh,
anyway, so I'll talk to you in the future, bud. Have a
Definitely.
good day,
Bye, sir. Bye.
and
Please.
have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Same to you. Same to you. Fantastic.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.